calling a hand dead, or noticing that you yourself are dead. First, let's talk about the advantages of calling someone dead. If you notice at any time during the game that someone has too many or too few tiles on their rack, they are automatically dead. And if you notice that someone is dead, you want to call them dead. And the reason why you want to call them dead is because they have to stop playing. But at the end of the hand, and you can look at the scoring video to understand a little bit more about points, at the end of the hand, if somebody wins, they still have to pay the winner the points. Now, if you incorrectly call somebody dead, they're allowed to say, no, I'm not dead, and continue playing. And if they were actually dead, there are penalties, but we're not going to get into that. If someone calls you dead and you are dead, you have to fess up and say, yes, I'm dead. If you're not dead, you don't have to tell them why they're wrong until the end of the hand. So you don't want to be declared dead. If you ever figure out that you can't win or that you're dead, your goal is that nobody wins, that you play defensively and you're trying to stop other people from winning, because if no one wins, then nobody has to pay points. But if you're dead and someone calls you dead, you have to say, yes, I am. If you're not dead because you know of another hand or something like that, you're allowed to say, no, I'm really not dead. And then at the end of the hand, you can explain why you weren't if people still think that you were. All right, now let's take a look at a hand and think about how would somebody know whether or not another player is dead. It has to do with the exposures that a particular player has shown. So first of all, I'm going to correct this hand. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We need 3 more tiles. 11, 12, 13. Those of you familiar with the 2020 card know that this particular person is going for the top hand of consecutive run. A pair of 5s, pair of 6s, Pong of 7s, Pong of 8s, and Kong of 9s, all in the same suit. And you can only play it in those numbers. So they're pretty close. They have their pair of 5s. That's great. They have one of their 2 6s. Pretty good. They need 1 more 7. They have all 3 of their 8s, and they need 1 more 9, okay, for their Kong. They are unlucky because they have no jokers, which I don't know about you, but that happens to me quite frequently. I am not a joker magnet. Some people are. I'm not. That's okay. I still love the game. So, remember, this pair of 6s, I can only call for that 6 if it's my mahjong tile. If it's my winning tile, because you can't call for a single or pair unless it's for mahjong. Now, let's say at some point, and actually I'm going to change this a little bit more. We're going to put this here. So now I need 1 more 7 and 1 more 8. Everybody see it? And someone discards an 8 crack. And I call it. I say, I call. This is a hand that is eligible for exposure. There's an X on the end of the line. I need a Pung, a Kung, or a Quint. I need a Pung of 8s. That's 3 of the exact same tile. And it has an X for exposure. So I'm going to put out the 8 cracks. Now there are a few hands that use a Pung of 8 cracks on the current card. And then I discard. I'm going to throw out my 9 bam. And I have to say 9 bam, remember? Now, let's say a little bit later, somebody discards a 7 crack. Well, I need that 7 crack. So I'm going to say, hold it, I call. Whether it's my turn or not, I'm going to call it. And I put it out. Now, strategic mahjong players take time to learn the card. Certain exposures, and at the moment I have 2 exposures. I have a Pong of 7 cracks and a Pong of 8 cracks. Certain exposures tell more about what you're looking for than other exposures. There is only one hand on the entire card that uses a pung of 7s and a pung of 8s right in a row. And that's the top hand in consecutive run. So now, most Mahjong players who have experience know that I have to get a pair of 5 cracks or a pair of 6 cracks. And everyone will now either hold their 5 cracks, hold their 6 cracks, or they will throw them out so that my hand will become dead, because there's only one hand I could be playing. You might be thinking, wait, you could be playing the bottom of consecutive run. No, I can't. That's a closed hand. I can't be playing that one, even though the pattern is 7-8, 7-8, 9. If I wanted to, because it's a closed hand, I am not allowed to call for exposure. So, some people strategically may start throwing out 6s. There's already one 6 crack thrown away. Let's say one of my opponents throws away another 6 crack. Well, I can't call it. It's for a pair, and I don't have Mahjong. I can't call for a pair unless it's for Mahjong. Now there are 2 6 cracks out in the field. I have one in my hand. If I don't replace these other 2 tiles or pick a 6 crack by myself, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, right? I have to discard 4 dot. I forgot to discard. So now I'm down to 13. That would have been a dead hand because I had 14 tiles. I had forgotten to discard when I took the 7 crack. People do that a lot, so you want to be careful about that. If another 6 crack comes out, 6 crack, I can't call it. It's not for Mahjong. I am now dead, and I know it. And any Mahjong player who's studied the card also knows it. Now, I'm not going to call myself dead. That doesn't help me. I'm going to keep playing, and I'm going to throw out stuff that I hope nobody needs, because I'm going to try to prevent anybody else from winning. In a fair way, I'm not trying to cheat. You don't have to call yourself dead. Someone else in the game needs to call you dead. But if there are 6 3 cracks out there, and there are 6 3 cracks that have been discarded, I need a pair of 6 cracks. There's no way for me to win this hand without that. I now am dead. And if another player says, hey, you're dead because there are 3 6 cracks out here and I know you need a pair, so you can't use a joker for a pair, you're dead. You just say, you're right, I'm dead. Don't call yourself dead, but if somebody else calls you dead and you really are, you say, yep, I'm really dead. So you don't get to play anymore, and if someone else wins, you have to pay them points. The reason for calling someone dead is because if you could call someone dead and they are dead, they stop playing, that means everybody else in the game gets more turns. You get more turns because one of the players has stopped taking the turn. So there are more tiles available to everyone else. It increases the odds that somebody will get Mahjong. Now, I have played with people who just don't like to call people dead, which I understand, but calling people dead is part of the game. If, however, at your table, you don't like doing that, that is a table sort of preference, which, again, as long as everyone's happy with it, that's terrific. But you want to be aware of what the rules are. If you are dead and someone calls you dead, you need to admit it, and then you stop playing. And if someone wins, you pay them. I hope that you never go dead. Enjoy your Mahjong.